In one of the meetings, scientists were asked to take part, just one, and they took our information, and you may have, some of you may have read the reports that we produced, but they didn't invite us back, and so they were able to interpret this information in the way that suited them, and in some cases they have misinterpreted quite badly some of the results, but they never came back to ask us. We could easily have explained what the situation was. So I feel that EASA has, by the way it's proceeded, has given the science a fairly low level of importance compared with the input from the industry, from both sides of industry, in fact. However, I don't think that they have taken enough attention to the evidence that is out there, and I think as a result, and it is with regret that I have to say that I don't think that the current regulations provide quite enough protection for against aircrew fatigue. My concern is that the regulations as they stand set a standard that accepts too high a level of fatigue, and that if it's not managed very carefully by the operators, that this could lead to a situation where the accident rate will increase. And however, I don't think that they have taken enough attention to the evidence that is out there, and I think as a result, and it is with regret that I have to say that I don't think that the current regulations provide quite enough protection for against aircrew fatigue.
In an EASA-commissioned study, 10 highly renowned scientists came to a complete different conclusion than the agency itself. EASA is planning a daytime duty limit of 16 hours, but the experts caution the maximum should be 13 hours. The EU currently allows 11 hours 45 minutes at nighttime. According to the study, 10 hours should not be exceeded. But EASA is increasing this even more to 12 hours. Up to now, there has been no limit in the United States of America. Now, duty at night will be limited to just 9 hours. Can European pilots perform better than their US colleagues at night? Apparently, yes.
Dr. Alexander Gundolf from the former senior scientist at the Institute of Aerospace Medicine, Cologne. Dr. Gundel, 5 minutes, please.
Sehr geehrter Herr Vorsitzender, meine Damen und Herren.
Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to restrict my comments to 4 topics. First of all, experts, scientific experts, and their opinion, and then I'm going to look at a number of the concerns that they have, and then I'm going to look at the significance of fatigue risk management. The participation of scientists, in other words, sleep researchers, chronobiologists and fatigue experts, has taken place in 2 stages in 2008 and 2011. First of all, the MEBIS report was adopted. It was a consensus report by 10 scientists who answered specific, or were meant to answer specific questions asked by EASA. Unfortunately, this had little to no impact. There was no meeting between EASA and scientists. Second stage was that 3 independently working scientists, again, answered specific questions provided by EASA, and there was a very stringent selection procedure. Provisional reports were discussed during a 2-day meeting with the advisory group, and the EASA final assessment was conducted, but no further contacts were made with the scientists. EASA refrained from asking for follow-up from the scientific sources. There's now a couple of safety concerns that I'd like to touch upon when it comes to the limits for flight times. Night flights may be accompanied by particularly high fatigue levels. So, working between 5 in the afternoon and 5 a.m. and then adding to that, well, compare that with the 11 hours provided for in the EASA opinion, and the German Aerospace Centre in the 1990s and the NASA memorandum from 1995 discuss this issue. So, honourable members, if you are in favour of the proposals that have been put forward, you'll be voting against the opinion of scientific experts. The next concern that I'd like to touch upon is about a particularly complicated issue. Here, 3 or 4 pilot crews, and this in relation to in-flight rest extensions, because pilots have to have the opportunity to sleep. And then, making use of crew bunks is the best option. 25% of the rest period that they have allocated to them is spent in these crew bunks, and in fact this led to an increase in service time, duty time by 3 hours. So it became 11 plus 3 hours for overnight duty and up to 13 plus 3 at other times of day. The opinion provides for 16 hours independently of the time of day, and there's no scientific backing for that. Generous extensions when sleep periods are allowed for in the absence of a bunk often means that there are difficulties in getting crew bunks fitted. And then fatigue risk management as part of the existing safety management system. This is the next issue. There is a general consensus that fatigue risk management leads to greater safety, although the opinion says that it's mandatory to have fatigue risk management training. It would seem that that's the best option, to have a mandatory fatigue risk management component. But this is at odds with the concept of safety management, which tries to take account of all risk factors that are relevant to pilot fatigue. Thank you.
The first question was looking at fatigue risk management. Yes, we think that fatigue risk management is going to improve safety if it is properly implemented. The second question looked at the specificities of the EASA issue, and these questions have been published in the 3 reports and also in the MUBIS report, so you can read them and you can have them from me, no problem there. We also wondered at the beginning why in fact these research and these issues, not others, but that was our position. And then Mr. Grosch wanted to know how you can compare the various studies, if I understood the question. And I should say that between 85 and 95, when most of the studies that took place were international cooperations between the United States and Japan and Europe. And then in 1995, we were of the position that we ought to limit the flying time to 10 hours. After 95, there was a study undertaken which actually made the EASA study a little bit laughable. When we looked at coming into duty, well, the issue for pilots, they have to say that they're fit for duty. They have to say they're fit for duty, otherwise they actually can't carry out the flight. And that's a very important point of fatigue risk management, and we'd like to continue looking at that. And then the Italian question that came here from the Italian MEP, was looking at the whole issue of positioning an arrest site. Well, that isn't, when you're resting on board a flight, that isn't at rest time, that is on duty. And then the question that came from you, Mr. Chair. So this is my, well, you know, it's a very difficult question. I can't answer it. In fact, a very complicated question. I don't want to make things any more confusing. Flight time in Europe in general is safe. But the EASA rules and the other rules, well, the rules as they are at the moment, well, we put forward some suggestions for improvement. I actually therefore can't say that I find the current rules better than the new ones at the moment. Thank you.